Hello gorgeous peeps, this is Chris from TechSpert, and today I've got Samsung's Galaxy A90 5G ready for a full unboxing setup and tour. You can barely even make out the name because of the awfully designed box, but I swear that is actually what it is, just in case you needed further clarification. And Samsung has of course already released a 5G smartphone in the form of the Galaxy S10 Plus, but that thing at over $1,000 is super premium. It will empty your bank balance pretty damn fast. If you're determined you absolutely have to have 5G but you can't quite stretch your budget to that much, then the A90 5G is a bit more palatable at 669 quid. Not the cheapest 5G phone out there, but as I say, not quite as difficult to swallow. And it's still a fairly premium device as well, as you would kind of hope for almost 700 quid, although you will have to make some sacrifices compared with the fully fledged S10 flagship phones. So let's just stick the phone aside for a second, see what exactly you get in the box. So of course you get a nice bit of 3-pin plug action. You got a sexy bit of Type-C USB, lovely stuff. And you even get a pair of headphones bundled in the box as well. They're just some basic in-ear efforts, but they do at least have a nice silicone tip, so they're not the proper lug hole scratches that you sometimes get. But of course there's no headphone jack on the A90 5G, so they are a pair of Type-C phones. So it's quite nice that you've got that option to stay wired if you want to, if you don't fancy using the Bluetooth. And then you also have, whoops, I completely screwed that one up. And that's got a quick start guide. And you got a pokey SIM device thing as well to actually get your SIM card into the wee bugger. And there you have it. There's the highly exciting stuff you get inside the box. Now let's actually check out the phone itself. Now first of all, fair play to Samsung, because while at first glance the A90 5G kind of looks like your typical Samsung handset, it does actually sport a very different split pattern design here on the back end. As you can see there, you've got a hard border down near this right edge and another split across the middle. As you can see there, just as you tilt it towards the light, you get a different effect. It's kind of a rainbowy effect up top, just pure gloss down below, and then this neat hard dark line down the side as well. It's quite a nice little pattern. There's no actual confirmation on Samsung's official webpage or the spec sheet either, but all of the information I could find online suggested that it was actually a plastic finish. It's quite surprising because it does have a serious heft to it, the Galaxy A90 5G. Definitely feels just as hefty as the likes of the S10 handsets. And of course at that sort of price point you would expect full-on glass, not plastic, but there's no mention of Gorilla Glass or anything like that, so I can only assume that it is indeed made of plastic. If you know otherwise, definitely let me know down in the comments below. Down below, as you can see, just a nice bit of Type-C USB action. Over on this side, nice and bare. Up top, you've got your SIM tray, and then over on this side, you've got your volume rocker. Oh, hello. Lots of jiggly balls on display. We'll check all that out in a bit. And the other thing is you don't get any water resistance here on the Galaxy A90 5G, unfortunately. That's been culled in order to bring down the cost a bit. So yeah, a bit of a shame that that is missing in action. Now that screen is a 6.7-inch Super AMOLED display, so super bright and punchy, just like all of Samsung's premium smartphone screens. As you can see there, those colors are really shining there. Super bright. I've already boosted it all the way down to one of the minimum brightnesses, and it's still super bright, so retina piercing, you might say. Now it's a Full HD Plus resolution here on the Galaxy A90 5G, 20:9 aspect ratio, so well suited for movies and the rest. As you can see, they're nice and crisp despite that large, spacious display. As you can see, of course, there is a little bit of a notch intrusion there when you go full screen mode, but it's nothing too bad. It's just a dinky little nipple notch, so yeah, nothing too offensive. Those colors are definitely nice and punchy, nice vibrant hues, really bleeding through. And if we go back to the main menu and go to settings, if we just dive on into the display there, you'll see you've got all kind of features to play around with. Screen mode is set to natural at the moment. You can actually boost it even further, those colors and such forth, by hitting vivid. That tends to just brighten things up a little bit. And you can of course directly play around with the color temperatures there. Play around with cool and warm. Go to advanced settings and you can actually set the white balance manually if you're really into that. Unfortunately, it's not a stereo speaker output here on the Galaxy A90 5G. It's just a mono speaker. So if we hit play, and then if we cover up that bottom speaker, as you can hear, everything is now muffled. But that said, nice and loud on that top volume, so no worries on that front, and the output's pretty clear as well. It's pretty respectable stuff. Just remember not to muffle it. And as you can see there, like other Samsung devices, you get an in-display fingerprint sensor, which you can just quickly and simply set up like so. So then when you want to sign into the Galaxy A90 5G, just give the screen a little tap, bring up that fingerprint sensor icon, and boom, straight in. You've also got full face recognition on there as well, using that front-facing selfie cam. and a whole bunch of other Samsung Knox security features as well. Definitely, if you're into privacy and security, the Samsung handsets are pretty solid on that front. Now, sadly, you don't get the latest Android 10 here on the Galaxy A90 5G. It's Android 9, but it is overlaid with Samsung's own One UI launch, which adds quite a few bonus features. So I already mentioned the likes of the face recognition. If you drag down the notifications bar, you'll find lots of other little features hidden away in there, likes of the always on display, a bit of screen recorder action, edge notifications, very neat indeed, kids stuff. That's pretty good if you want parental controls on your device. And it goes good old Bixby as well. So you do have Bixby sat there on top of the Google Assistant. Actually, not, that sounds all kinds of wrong. It sounds like they're having some sort of AI rumpy-pumpy or something. And yeah, having two assistants on one device is a little bit extravagant, but the Bixby routines feature is actually pretty good. It's basically another if this then that style setup with all kinds of different routines that you can set up for when you hit work, when you get back home, before bed, all that kind of shenanigans. Definitely well worth a look if you're into automating your life, making things a bit easier. And while you don't have a dedicated Bixby button here on the A90 5G, you can basically double up that power button to launch Bixby or other apps if you prefer. So by default, if you give a double tap of that power button, you'll load up the camera app nice and quick and easy. And if you long press, we should have Bixby pop into life.
Hi, I'm Bixby.
Oh God, you sound far too perky for a Wednesday afternoon. Because one thing that does annoy me about Samsung smartphones is it loves to double up on its various apps. You get yet another internet browser, you get Smart Things, which is basically just another way of tying together all your smart home stuff, just like Google Home. It's all a bit superfluous and pointless, but there you have it. The good news is Samsung definitely hasn't skimped when it comes to the performance as well. You get a Snapdragon 855 chipset backed by 6 gigs of RAM packed inside this thing, so I'm expecting it to be absolutely perfect for everyday shenanigans and gaming as well, no problem whatsoever. And of course you do get the bit of game launcher feature stuffed in there as well, which helps to block notifications, boost resources, all that kind of stuff. And of course, yes, you do get a nice bit of tasty 5G action, so it should be nice and nippy for all your web browsing, media streaming needs. No worries when it comes to the battery life either, because you get a mighty 4,500 milliamp cells stuffed inside of the Galaxy A90 5G. So that should keep you going all day long, nice and easy, even if you're streaming a lot of stuff using that 5G connection, doing a lot of gaming, PUBG Mobile, the likes of that. And you've got 25 watt fast charge as well, so hopefully it shouldn't take too long to power back up. And back in device care, we've got the storage section. You get 128 gigs on there as standard. I don't believe there's any other SKUs that you can get here in the UK. It's 128 gig or not, but you do get microSD memory card support as well to boost by a further 512 gigs, so plenty of space for all your media, files and such forth. And let's finish by taking a quick look at the Galaxy A90 5G's triple lens array camera. So that primary lens is actually a 48 megapixel shooter, which is a much higher megapixel count than you'll get on the likes of the S10 and the Note 10 as well. But of course, as well we know, the higher the number, not necessarily the better the photo quality. It is an f2.0 aperture lens as well, so probably better for those daylight shots than the low light efforts. And that primary lens is backed by an 8 megapixel ultra wide angle snapper, f2.2 aperture, and a simple 5 megapixel depth sensor. Now, I'll be delivering my full verdict on the Galaxy A90 5G's camera tech in a few days once I've had time to test it out. But let's have a quick look at that UI. Looks very familiar. Certainly any Samsung fans will be getting deja vu. It's a bit of a cluttered mess, to be perfectly honest with you. So many different toggles and features, but once you get to know your way around it, it's not too bad. And it does basically give you any kind of feature you could possibly want. You've got your, of course, standard auto mode. You can flick to the ultra wide angle lens with a quick tap there. Nice and simple and straightforward. You can go to live focus if you want to take a portrait shot with various different filters and special effects. You got your Pro mode, which has got your full manual controls, as you can see there, the likes of white balance, the shutter speed. And you've also got a dedicated night mode now here on these Samsung snappers as well, just to brighten up those night shots. The S10 and the Note 10 tended to overexpose a bit when using the night mode. We'll see if the A90 5G falls foul of that same issue. And when you go into the video mode, you can shoot up to 4K resolution footage, as you can see there, or a nice bit of 60 FPS action for your full HD video. You've got video stabilization and HDR option, etc, etc. And you can also now shoot live focus video, so that just adds a blurry bokeh style effect to the background when you're shooting a subject. Very funky indeed. And back in the main video mode, you've also got the option of super steady video now as well. Really good if you're going to be cycling, running, jumping, doing anything more active than just standing around filming your cat. It tops off with full HD resolution with the super steady mode. You can't shoot at 4K, but it really does help to smooth things out, makes everything look much nicer. And so that right there is Samsung's new Galaxy A90 5G. Thanks to Vodafone for providing this. I'll be giving you my full review in a few days' time, along with my in-depth camera testing results as well, to see if it really is a decent, slightly more affordable 5G 5G option compared with the likes of the S10 Plus 5G. So are you tempted? Definitely be great to hear your thoughts down below. If there's anything in particular you want to know about the device, definitely bung your thoughts down below and I'll try and cover all that in my in-depth review and such forth. And please do poke, subscribe and ding that notifications bell so you see when my full review does go live. Cheers everyone, love you!